everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies. We have just finished our second movie, called Magnolia, which I don't even know why it's called Magnolia.
Well, I think it's on the poster where I think, like, magnolia flowers have, like, 10... I don't know, they have like connected petals or something, so it's like I don't know, it's something, but like it's a total false advertisement.
Yes, it said that there were these several people, and they named all these, well, they showed them at the beginning, all these actors. And they were all in different life situations, and some were in bad trouble. Some were, you really didn't know what was wrong with a lot of them. It wasn't apparent right away, but they all seemed to be in some kind of trouble, meaning just that they were having a hard time, and that they were connected. And I was waiting for the entire movie, because I thought, well, with this many people, it's just like a story. You have too many characters. And I was waiting for them to tie them together one by one.
And they didn't.
Never happened.
It was like a total, I don't know, like it was such a downer in terms of that. Like, they could have redeemed it. They tried to redeem it in this really queer way, where instead of connecting them together, they connected them by something happening to all of them at the same time.
They did do that. This one thing happened to them.
But the thing was that happened, like, everywhere. So it's not just for those 10 characters.
No, it wasn't just for them.
Like, you could have put them all together in a bank robbery situation or something. Or you could have put them together in another way. But instead, you just have some frogs raining. Like, that's the connection. Not
some, a lot.
Which
I guess it was all computer generated, but they were not the little frogs. They were the kind that you get frogs' legs from.
There were lots of real frogs. I think there were real ones, rubber ones, probably a lot of computer generated. I thought that was fun, and there were some good things in the film. But let's start out with saying, why did we not do a commentary? Because you're a failure.
I've been sick all afternoon.
Yeah.
We had this milk at the beginning with cereal, and because I've been having so much trouble lately, anything can set me off. And Marco had it too, and he was sick for a while.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell? Like, am I just going to be sick for the rest of the day because of that stupid fucking cereal? And so...
For me, though, I'm so oversensitive to that. I just got sick over and over and over again.
And by sick, you mean that you had to leave camera and go to the bathroom.
Right.
And so, like...
And I'm not kidding.
We couldn't really commentate. And Safi didn't even really want to talk. Well, she's like, there's nothing to say. Which is just bullshit. I mean, it's a 3-hour movie. There's plenty to say.
The one we just watched?
Yeah.
Oh, God. It was 3 hours?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I know, and you can really feel it, too.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like a movie like... I would even say the Batman is more fast-paced than this was. Even though it's still not fast-paced at all. It's just not good. Like, it's another movie like Top Gun, where not only does it not have a focus, but also the messages are completely contrary to the ones that you'd think the movie would have. Because at the beginning, they're talking all about these connections and these strange coincidences, and you think that's what the movie's going to be about. And in fact, if you want to look at a thing that does that well, it would probably be the Fargo show. Fargo seasons 1, 2, and 3. Because in that show, they would connect all the characters together. Like in season 2, the way that wife, she keeps on killing all the members, and then she connects to another person, and so they connect all together. Like, it's not just this thing where, I don't know, it's just Safi.
Well, I mean, if they'd made the connections, I could understand the 3-hour thing, because you might need 3 hours to make connections with that many characters. But it wasn't. It didn't happen. There was a little bit at the end where there's a cop and he works a neighborhood with this other guy, went into his former business and he stole everything, but then he changed his mind, wanted to take it back, and all these things happened. The cop saw him, but he just went in with them, put everything back, and he left with them. And I don't think he was going to get in trouble.
No.
And then the cop went to this girl's house, and he had gone out with her, so there was that connection. They had had dinner together, and she decided not to do it, and was upset and went home, and he was upset because he was looking forward to being with her, and then he went to visit her, and I guess they made up. And
they're very loose connections, because like a character is connected to another character, and then that other character is related to another character.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's not like a connection like you'd expect.
Yeah.
So it doesn't work.
That was different.
It does not work. Like, in my opinion, I think the movie was a huge failure. And I think that it's a great example of like a gigantic Hollywood failure. And Safi, this is from the same guy who made Licorice Pizza. And
really?
Can't you tell that by like how in Licorice Pizza it had the same problems, where there's a lot of this stuff that happened for no reason, and it was kind of like it was poorly structured, poorly paced, and the structure is terrible. I mean, the plot structure, they devote like an hour to that girl, Claudia, snorting cocaine.
I know she would have overdosed in any normal place, because she just did over and over and over and over again in a short amount of time.
It was like an Oscar.
It wasn't after a week.
It was like an Oscar bait parody movie where you have like someone just doing 1,000 things of drugs, and you have like someone crying, and you have someone drinking a whole bottle of alcohol, and it's like wah, wah, wah. And there is some good stuff in there, but it's trapped in all this trash. Like, it needed some editing, and it needed like someone else to like bounce off these ideas and like change things around to make things fit together in a better way. Like, I really wanted to see more of the kid.
I thought they were going to show more of him, and
the kid Stanley.
It was it.
And his whole thing where he's like a kid who's on these game shows, and his father's abusive, and all the other parents are abusive.
Well, he's a stage father.
Yeah. His
kid's real smart, and he's trying to get him on all these game shows so they can make money.
And I thought that was good.
He knows all the answers.
I thought that was like a good story. And then, what else? Well, William H. Macy, he did a really good job in the movie. And he gave a really good performance. And he had an interesting story. And then I thought that John C. Reilly did a really good job with his whole police story. But that comes with a problem, because remember, Safi, we never got to find out anything in the beginning of what any of that stuff meant, with like who killed that person in her house, why did it happen, how did it happen. And you know what's funny, Safi, is that apparently he deleted a whole sequence that explained what happened. And they show the guy who killed him. and they deleted that from the film.
Huh.
And it's like, I'm sorry, but you literally can't say this movie is a masterpiece if you also see that like they deleted this whole thing from the film. They haven't even ever showed that either. Like, they haven't even ever released it as a deleted scene. So, that's a problem. Right, Safi?
Yeah.
What else do you have to say, Safi?
Oh, well, since we're doing Tom Cruise this week.
Oh, yeah.
His part was, of course, he was just another character, and he was a jerk. And I mean, and he was like this public speaker who helped people, and he probably got paid for like any special consultation, any books or literature that he put out. He probably got paid for it by these, and he held these big speeches, and I'm sure people paid to get in, so that's how he made his money. So I guess the thing is, how did he get to be such a jerk? Well, I guess it had to do something with his parents. His mom died, and before she died, she wanted her husband to come, and he was dying, and so they show him.
Oh, yeah.
They finally get together, and but you see him in the worst behavior possible. He talks to a reporter, and right before he talks to the reporter, he strips all his clothes off with his underwear and starts doing flips and dancing around.
Basically acting like in real life.
Well, yeah, because if you remember when he was going to marry that girl,
Katie Holmes.
Who?
Katie Holmes.
Katie Holmes. He was on Oprah Winfrey, jumped on the couch. He did exactly the same behavior. Because I saw it.
So it was almost like it came true.
Yeah, I know. And,
So, the guy who made the movie, he is smart because he gave him that part, and that whole thing was literally like just a prediction of that incident. So,
I'll say.
I would say, I don't know. I thought he did a good job, but I thought that his whole story was weak. Like, his whole story is just, it's basically the story of a soap opera episode that you could have condensed into like 25 minutes. And that's another thing, is that we talk all the time about how these TV show makers, they all spew this bullshit about overstaying your welcome. It's a total non-existent complaint about television shows. Or it's an irrelevant complaint. But this movie, I think, is the definition of overstaying your welcome.
Yeah, it just went too long. They needed editing. I don't know if they needed editing in each piece, but it's like each character, they just did the same thing over and over and over again. The one girl kept snorting cocaine. The little boy he had to go to the bathroom. They wouldn't let him go. He had to sit there. He's peeing his pants.
Just imagine if you had to take shots every time the characters acted the same and did the same things the whole movie.
I know. And that girl, I mean, she'd be dead in real life if she'd taken that much cocaine.
Plus, she drank coffee. She had coffee with her cocaine.
Oh, God.
And then she had alcohol on the date. So, I don't know.
So, it's just that they berated the points. And it was just too long, and they needed to edit. But it was interesting creatively.
Yeah.
But one, I would prefer if they would have all been connected, like they said.
I know.
Or it's too many characters, and it's too convoluted.
I said near the end that I would say that, like, they should have cut half the characters and then did the movie, like, and had them connect. Like, cut Julianne Moore because her story was trash. Like,
I don't think it was necessary.
Like, she was good in it, but her story was, like, just boring and really cliche. And then, what's the other bad stories? Well, Tom Cruise's story cut that, cut the dad, cut Philip Seymour Hoffman, and probably just keep all the rest of the characters.
Well, if they're not going to tie them together,
Yeah.
it's too much. And that's why they tell you when you write not to have too many characters, that it's like it deludes or it diminishes the value of the ones that are there, because you have so many characters, you can't devote enough time to each one. And then when you do, what they did was they just did the same thing over and over again. And that's not good. So,
Well, there's other movies that have done this concept better too. Yeah, like Cloud Atlas.
oh,
That's
yeah.
a movie where all the characters connected.
It's like a cloud.
Every single character connects at a certain point through the different generations. And then Clue. And Clue, remember, they all thought they were strangers. And then throughout the movie you find out that they're actually connected to each other in certain ways, and like secret ways. Like you find out that Professor Plum was the doctor to one of those girls that got killed in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like that. Like, those movies are good examples. And then, of course, the Fargo show, except for season 4. But even season 4 had the characters connect. So all of those things are better examples of things where they had the characters connect.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that there were some good things, but overall I still didn't like it.
No.
But we did like something, Safi.
I thought it was going to be a Southern movie, too. That was because of the Magnolia.
A Southern movie.
Well, I was thinking about
God.
the South.
Safi.
That was another thing.
Could
Wasn't
you
even
imagine?
close.
Just imagine Tom Cruise being a slave owner in a Southern movie. That would be
No,
like
I didn't think. I thought it was going to be like a mystery in the South. A modern mystery, nothing to do with slavery or the Civil War. I thought it was a modern movie
a mystery
about
in
the South.
About what? Like, what would happen?
I don't know, maybe a murder or something, because they showed these, and it really made me wonder, because at the beginning they show these black and white photographs, and they could have been real, of 3 men who were convicted of something, and they hung. And they showed them hanging them.
Yeah, they showed all these crimes.
I don't know if it was real or not.
I think it was.
Real pictures.
No, I think that was all fake. But then they showed, they had John C. Reilly as a cop. And they had a murder at the beginning. And so you really thought that there were going to be like some murders, some crime.
Yeah,
most
that was
of them,
another thing. Very misleading.
Very misleading. And most of the movie revolves around crimes that happened in the past. Like that dad who might have molested his daughter in the past, which we don't even get to find out if he did or not, or anything. You know, and there were all these plot things that we never had any resolutions to at all. And so I really thought the movies, if the movie should have been advertised on anything, it was basically about people's pasts catching up to them. Like, it really had nothing to do with people connecting to each other like Cloud Atlas or Clue. So, what do you think, Safi? Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I just, there's so many misleading things which we've just talked about, which makes me, I was just like, I'm so sick of watching this. Plus the fact I was sicker than a dog during almost the entire movie.
Yeah, there was this funny
Doesn't
part
help.
where you got sick and then you came back in here, and then 10 minutes later you had to leave again.
Yeah.
And then you came back in here and you were like, when's this movie gonna be over? And it's like, because you have to keep pausing it and unpausing it and pausing it and unpausing it. It was pretty hilarious.
Yeah. I have sales too, and I just feel terrible.
something that we ended up liking was near the end of the movie, we started eating some of those Blue Diamond almond nut thins, cheddar cheese flavor. And I actually really liked those. I thought they were pretty good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'd eat them all the time, but I would say, like...
It's a nice snack.
They're a good snack. Like, if you had a party and you had a platter, it would be cool to have some of those nut thins on the platter.
Better than that cereal.
Oh, yeah. The
Don't
cereal...
get that Captain Crunch all berry.
Oops, all berries.
Soup.
It was disgusting.
Cereal.
And what happened was the cereal was so gross that, like, there was this aftertaste that coated our tongues.
Oh.
And it just stayed in our mouths. And it was terrible, and it was like torture.
Talk about negatively impacting a movie review.
I would say, though, the Top Gun was worse. What do you think?
Well, it was shorter, but it was about nothing.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you might as well, if you want to see some good flying, go to an air show. We actually live near an area where they have an air show every single year. And I've been a couple times, once to help Marco work, because it was a 4-H event where they helped sell things, and they got donations to their club. And then, so we got to see it. That was, I think, for free. And then another time I went, it's usually so hot, it's kind of too miserable, and I'm not really into that. But it'd be better to see something that's real instead of, well, I guess some of that had to have been real, because they did put the names of real pilots and real teachers at the end of in the credits. So, because you couldn't have those actors just, there's no way they could fake all that. There's too much technical stuff, but...
Well, in the new one, the actors actually fly.
Wow.
So that's another reason why it's better.
I don't, and that's good. See, that's the thing. If there's a movie that you want to see this summer, now I know the summer's not over. It's the first week of July, going into the second one soon. Watch Top Gun 2, because that's probably one of the best movies of the summer. You've had all these obvious, like,
you don't know yet.
Notorious, so far, you've had all these notorious blockbuster sequels.
You haven't seen it.
Like Jurassic Park.
The only thing you've seen for the summer has been The Black Phone.
Well, that was a good movie. And that would be another one. If you could see The Black Phone, see The Black Phone.
Yeah.
And watch this Top Gun too, because those two movies, I haven't seen it yet, but Marco's seen it and everybody else says it's really, really good. And you're talking about real people who just like to enjoy themselves. We do reviews, so we look at movies more critically than maybe other people, but still, who doesn't want to just go see a good movie and be entertained, right? And those two movies will entertain you. So I don't think we should belabor the point. Tom Cruise was in this movie. I didn't like his part. It was crude, and and a couple of things that he did reminded me of stuff.
Safi, you like Bully, and that movie was 1,000 times more crude.
It was still, he's just, the things he was saying, and it was really fake, because it had something to do with his past and his parents, and something about the way they treated each other, and the way his father treated him.
It's fake on purpose, because it's like, ooh, what if there was a pickup artist, and the reason why he's a pickup artist is because of his past with his parents.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, that's not always the case. Like, it's a business, and he's extremely successful.
Yeah, that's right. He has made a business for himself, but it's fake. Okay?
Yeah.
And he's a real good... I mean, this thing where he stripped down his underwear in front of the reporter She's very nicely dressed. She probably has all this designer clothing on. She looks like a model.
She looks kind of like a modern day, like a modern actress. Like instead of like, well, she looks like I recognize her from somewhere.
I do too. Me too.
So I was like, who is she? Like I was like, this is weird.
I mean, she looked really. I mean, just very urban. Very like urban.
God, Safi.
Well, urban chic. I mean, she had like the latest clothing, makeup, hair, perfect modern, and he was slovenly and was acting like he was panting like a dog and doing stupid stuff. It was embarrassing. And then she began to call him on his past because she's been doing her research. And she's found out that he's big fake. And he's been lying about his credentialing.
Well, but remember, she was being shitty to him because she left out the part where he took care of his dying mother while his father abandoned them.
Yeah.
And so she didn't know about that. And so there's always more to the story.
Right.
And in fact, the character was based on a real person. Not all the family stuff, but just like the pickup artistry thing. And I looked him up, and I thought that the real person was fine. You know, he's hardly anything like he is in the movie. And so that's just like a complete over-exaggeration of what these types of people are like. Of course, there are some that are pretty bad. But the guy who they based this character on in Magnolia, he's not bad at all.
Yeah. So anyway, I think we're going to wrap it up now. We have 4 more movies to watch.
Yeah.
And
the next one will be Austin Powers Gold Member.
Hopefully that'll be shorter and funnier.
It is. It's the shortest. It's the shortest movie of the list, and it's a comedy. And so I thought the reason why I ordered it this way is because I thought it'd be the best to watch after the slovenly slog Magnolia. And what would you grade Magnolia? And what would you grade Top Gun? Like say Top Gun blank, Magnolia blank.
Wow. I guess I would give Top Gun a D plus and give Magnolia a D minus.
Really?
Well, the only reason why is because of
Top Gun is shorter.
People. Well, the real pilots who did all that expert flying, I feel like they're being shorted because we're watching empty characters and empty storylines.
They're not being shorted. The movie is one of the most popular movies ever made.
Well, I know, but personally, we're giving it a very low grade
because it sucked.
It was a terrible movie, but the thing is, the flying and the expertise it takes to fly planes like that, and they are brave people, and they would do really good in battle, and it's dangerous to fly those airplanes. And you know, if they want to do it and they can do it, and they get trained. I mean, I guess another point to that is the training that takes to do that is very in depth, and you need it. You can't skip out on any training when it takes to flying those planes because of the accidents that can happen. Anything can happen on those, and you have to work like a team when you're fighting another, what would you call it, just a bad guy. They have to work as a team, and everybody needs everybody to be expert in what they're doing and to have a level head.
The problem is,
know what they're doing.
Top Gun has some of the most annoying music of all time.
Oh, that was another thing.
That song where it went like da 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 da. You know, the romance song.
Yeah.
That song.
I remember the songs from when that came out.
It's still ingrained.
I didn't see the movie.
It's still drilled into my head as we're reviewing this completely different 3-hour movie. And I would say, though, the music in Top Gun is better than the music in Magnolia.
Oh, yeah.
The music in Magnolia was annoying, and it was obnoxious, and there was, like, music every second of the whole fucking movie.
I don't know. It was just, I didn't even listen to it. It was...
Oh, you should have saw it. There was music where, like, they looped it for, like, 20 minutes long.
Oh, yeah, there was a few ones I knew.
But
they
with
were
Top
old.
Gun...
Everything was old.
With Top Gun, I thought, at
they
least
played
it's
the same
fun.
3 things.
At least it's fun. At least it's short. Like, at least it's not 3 hours of playing, you know, the romance fucking song. That was so bad. But I would say, actually, I'll change my mind. I think Top Gun is better overall, which can happen. If you have a really long movie, then it can easily be worse than a shorter movie if it has a ton of flaws in it that aren't fixed. And that's something that's like a product of nowadays, is that there's no editing. And there's nobody there to say, no, I don't think that should be there. No, well, why didn't you explain that? No, why didn't you solve that story? Like, why is there a murder that happens at the beginning and you never find out who did it, why they did it, and when and how they did it? But then at the beginning of the fucking movie, before it starts, there's all these murders that they explain in depth how they happen and who did it. Like, that's just completely nonsensical.
Yeah. So anyway, if you like this, press the like button. If you want to be one of our subscribers, welcome to our channel, because we welcome all new subscribers. We welcome your comments, your opinions. Have you seen either one of these movies? What did you think? Have you seen the new Top Gun? What did you think about that? I'd love to hear what you had to say. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye. Hey, everybody. I just wanted to do an addendum to this Magnolia review. Here's the thing. I have a couple of things to say, okay? About the film, about Tom Cruise in general. I really loved this film last year when I watched it for the first time. But I think it was because I wanted to love it. I think that I was going through some stuff, and honestly, I kind of identified with a couple of characters in terms of, you know, they were very, very strong characters, and they did such a good job acting, and it was kind of like an emotional drug, if you will, when I watched it over and over. And I realized I've completely changed my tune on the movie, and I stick with it. Like, I don't like it. I don't like this movie, and I think that it is I think one of the things is that I saw Licorice Pizza. Licorice Pizza should have been a home run. It should have been an easy 10 out of 10. 5 out of 5, A+, spaghetti and meatballs, all the ratings. Perfect. But instead, it was this weird thing where just nothing happened, and then a little bit happens at the end, and that's it. And it made me realize that that's what happened in Magnolia. But they tricked you by having these little tiny things happen over and over and over again for the course of 3 hours. And watching that movie for 3 hours, it was horrible. I have never had, and I've said this a few times, I swear, everyone, watching these Tom Cruise movies, we haven't watched the second half yet. That's a little spoiler. We're just going to review those one at a time, because this was such a negative experience. And it all started with, number one, eating that cereal that made us both ill that day. But number two, when I said that Scientology prayer, I had a very bad feeling the entire day. I felt horrible the entire day. I felt sick. I was really, and I still feel like something from it. And it was a very negative energy. And I think that that energy is Tom Cruise's energy. And I think he has a very negative, evil energy. And I never want to feel that energy again. Ever. I might review his movies. I might do one once in a while. Obviously, we're going to do Mission Impossible next year. But I never, ever, ever want to feel like that I have Tom Cruise's negative energy again. Because the only other time I felt that bad energy is when I bought a piece of a certain house where people were murdered, an infamous house. I bought a little tiny piece of that house. And I've never really talked about it because it actually helped me. It helped me come up with a great idea for a movie. Let's just say that. But that piece of house made me feel sick. And the energy, I could feel all the energy from that house. There was a lot of sexual energy, especially. And it rubbed off on me. A lot of negative energy. And it was really bad. And I felt a similar energy with this movie day. And I think it all started with that prayer. And I think something about that disgusting prayer brings on some sort of a negative influence. And so I would say that, this is kind of like a negative review, but the thing is that the movie Magnolia, it made it even worse because that movie is just all depression, the same old, like, victim, where you just thrive on being a victim, like the feminist movements and all those types of movements nowadays. What do they do all the time? They're just victim movements. I'm a victim. Where? Poor me. I'm a victim. And I read a book recently. Well, I haven't finished it yet, but I am going to finish it. And it's by Napoleon Hill. And it's something about, like, a conversation with the devil. And the whole book just completely changes your entire mindset on things, about being afraid of things, about feeling like a victim, about, negative thoughts, negative energy. All that stuff is bad. All that stuff is evil. And this movie, Magnolia, that's what it's all about. It's all about a bunch of people who just have this horrible negative energy, this negative evil influence on them. And it's like watching just these victims for 3 hours. There are some good things here and there. I would say, though, that I never want to watch this movie again either. Never want to watch Top Gun again for the third time. I'd rather kill myself. I never want to watch Magnolia again for the, I guess, like, 7th time, maybe. I might never want to watch Goldmember again either. Like, that's how bad that Tom Cruise day was. With Bette Davis, it was the opposite. I had such a positive feeling every time I watched a Bette Davis movie. Even with that one where she plays the crazy person, the Baby Jane one, I had a very positive feeling from her movies. I had a very positive feeling from Richard Thomas movies, I think a lot of these people, their energies, they influence whether the movies are good or not. And so, Magnolia was just terrible in terms of that. And really, the movie shows a pretentious filmmaker, because he took what could have been a great idea where shit happens. Weird shit happens where everything is connected in weird ways. If you look up any true crime type of thing, you're going to freak out and, just get really, weirded out all day long. And so let's take 12 characters, 9 characters, and connect them together and have them go through something together where it all connects and it all makes sense. Great idea. It's been done before really well. Specifically, let's just talk about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, for example. That movie did a fantastic job at doing that. There's lots of other movies, but this movie specifically just refuses to connect them for the most part. And really, nothing happens the whole movie. It's just so meandering and just doing the same thing over and over again. I don't know if you guys have ever worked out for 4 hours. The type of weirdos who do that, the workout-aholics. That's what this movie is. It's like a workout-aholic. I go to the gym. I go in there for an hour or less. That's it. You know why? Because I don't need to be in there longer than an hour or less. I just lost 2 pounds last week. That wasn't from going in the gym for 6 hours lots of people boast. That was for going in the gym for 45 minutes or so, 3 times a week. That's it. That's it. And this movie, there's so many disconnections, not only through the main stories, but there's disconnections in the side stories. The fact that there are these major plot points that are never, ever explained, never connected, never solved. And they're just these mysteries, and they're just these things that you have to think about with your little philosophy group of fucktards. Philosophy fucktards. Oh, sorry, we have an Amazon delivery. I was like, what's that? Anyways, I guess I should end this soon. Oh, and I got a spam call, too. And the last thing I'd like to talk about is Tom Cruise himself. TJ Mackey, Frank Mackey, Mr. Mackey, Mac and Cheese. This guy, he is based off of a real pickup artist guy. And it is the most stupid, goofy, over-the-top portrayal. It's just a complete exaggeration from a feminist type of point of view of these guys who go to these pickup artists, who go to these dating experts, they have real problems. And the fact that they have this character who's just this buffoon. I mean, if anything, the character represents Tom Cruise more than it represents an actual, dating pickup artist. I've seen the pickup artist that they based this movie on. I watched some videos of his, and he's actually extremely intelligent, and he's not like this at all. And in fact, I've used a couple of his tips of advice, and they're actually helpful. And they actually are, they're just common sense types of things. I don't like to do the kinds of things, but they actually help. They raise your success rate by 20%, in my opinion. So I would say also that this film, from that one wrong portrayal, how can I trust any other portrayals? How can I trust any other, characters, how they are, in terms of, are they, a stereotype or wrong portrayal? I can't trust them because of Tom Cruise. His character is so over the top and so wrong that character, if that's wrong, all the others could be wrong too. There is some good acting, but overall, this movie, it is a depressing slog. It's pretentious, it's Oscar bait, and I hate it. I hate it. So please like this video, as we've already said before, comment, and subscribe. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon.